we've got the marks on our case side. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put a scribe line, just like we did on the bottom and top. I want to put a scribe line to tell me how deep these should be. So I'll again go to the bottom and set my marking gauge to be the same width as the bottom material, and then go ahead and scribe the case side. Now in this particular case, I don't need to mark the edges because I'm going to remove the material here. I'm going to remove the material in the pin, in the side pin area. I'll try to make that clearer by just taking this and saying I'm going to get rid of this material. So let's go ahead and put this in the vise again. Reposition the camera for you. I hope you can see that. And I'll use a small square. And with this small square, just transfer these lines down to the scribe line. All right. With that, we're ready to saw things out. So the main thing to remember here is just make sure you know where you're cutting. You're cutting on the tail region that you just marked. There's a scribe line there. You can, if you want, try to get your saw to be exactly registered to that scribe line. I generally don't. I generally cut on the inside edge of the marked line, and I'll come back with a chisel, register the chisel in that scribe mark, and get an exact, an exact cut with my chisel. But do it either way. I come close though. I come very close to the line. This is very similar to what we did on the tail piece for the bottom. I want to stop right on my scribe line. You can see that I'm just, maybe a 64th of an inch away from that pencil line that we drew in, and I'm on the inside of it. So repeat this now. Maple's a lot harder than pine, so it takes a little bit more to saw, but repeat this for the rest of this. Okay, this particular case, maple is a lot harder material than pine, so I will go remove the majority of this material on the bandsaw, and then I'll come back and clean it up with a chisel. You want to make sure you don't cut off the wrong pieces, so again I would recommend getting a pencil and just marking the pieces that you want to cut out. And do this so that the pyramid is facing up, so that the smaller distance across the top of the pyramid relative to the bottom is facing up. And just come in here with the bandsaw, stay to the inside of the line, and cut out this material. Just waste it away so you don't have so much to chop out with the chisel. I'll just spend a little time marking this. So obviously if you flip this around and came in with the bandsaw and stayed on the inside of this line, you'd cut right through this piece that you want to keep. So that's why you keep the pyramid up when you go to the bandsaw and waste these out. So here we go, pretty easy. So at this point now, I've got to come in and clean up these little wedges on either side, and then also take a chisel and register right to my scribe mark and clean these up, and I should have a completed side. Very similar to what we did before on the pine. Except that maple's a lot harder. Alright, now again go right to your scribe line. You can register the chisel right in that line. Cut this slightly reentrant. Don't have to go real far in the first pass. So I basically want to just pare this thing away. Using that initial transferred mark as my starting position. This one's pretty good. I sawed right to the line on that one. But you can feel it. You take your chisel and just guide it along here, and you will feel it'll just wedge right in that that transfer mark. Now where this sometimes falls apart is if the grain is running at a weird angle, because your chisel will tend to follow the grain. On this particular piece I'm fairly fortunate. The grain is pretty nice and straight. If it does, what you can do is come down from the top and pare to the line this way. But it's a lot easier if you can just go to the end of the pin, register your chisel in it, and then push straight back.